I am my ADD. I need this to survive, to communicate, to interact. So I need to use this as my notes to talk to you guys with. And this I can put away for now. I'm going to talk about how I turned my passion into a business. And first of all, where it all began, how it started, and kind of where it went from there. The first thing I like to tell everybody, my famous phrase I use is how you can actually, let me start with, your worst ink pen is better than your best memory. Meaning anything you guys write down, you will remember over your brain any day. That's why I always like to tell people, so if you guys take any notes on anything that I say, one or two things you may gain from it. We'll start there. Quick background about me. I am goofy. I am different. I am not normal. As you guys can see, I have this branding and marketing strategy. You'll remember me. I'm from Europe. I was born in Ukraine. I moved here in 1991 with my family. And from there, I've been in Fort Wayne since. So that's where it started. I do a lot of traveling. I go to Florida, I go to Vegas, I go to LA. I travel the country a lot and really am very open-minded to what the world has to offer, as you can tell. We'll take that into two things. One is how to find your passion and then turn it into a business rather than just a hobby, because that's a pretty big difference. I always tell people there are no stupid or pointless thoughts or questions. A lot of people always, think of some weird stuff and they forget about it because they think it's stupid or pointless. It could be the best thing they ever end up doing later on. So I'll start with that. Also, I learned to not really ever listen to your friends or family. I love my family and I love my friends, but a lot of them are grounded. They're right here. They're going to tell you that what you're doing is never been done, and it probably won't work because it's never been done. So I don't like to be grounded. I like to be on the, as I call, the cloud. I like to have my goals set so high that no one understands me. And that's kind of one thing I learned, is to not really give in to the norm and listen to what everybody has to say. So the first thing I really did is I took out a piece of paper and a pen and I wrote down about 100 things I like to do. I tell this to people that, again, there's no stupid thoughts. Write down anything. If you guys like to mow the yard, write it down, because you can have the best landscape company ever by the time you end up figuring out that's what you want to do. So write down a bunch of stuff you like to do, and eventually you'll kind of see that a few of those things you're really passionate about. You'll spend a lot of time doing it, 6, 7 days a week, 15 hours a day, and you realize time's flying. That means you're pretty passionate about it. The next step is, okay, I'm passionate, I love it. Well, how do I convert it into an actual business model where I can create it to make money for me? In my case, I like to design something creative to be different. I do fashion in my case. And in my thought process, I told myself, I'm very modern, I'm very innovative. I like quality, I'm very classy, I'm a forward thinker. How can I create that with my passion into a business model? And everybody's different. That's why I use my example of, maybe you guys can pick up something from that. I found that the business world doesn't really have too much character or personality. It's kind of black and white. It's been very much that way for a long time. And I feel like there's just a niche and a gap where I could create something for it. At that point in time, I had no idea how. So I just started with, I bought a black tie, and I put some rhinestones on it from Hobby Lobby one day, and I went out and I got probably 15 compliments on it. I had no idea what I was doing, but I just knew people really liked it. So from there I thought, well, could there be any money in this? Is this really a business opportunity that exists? Because it really hasn't been done a whole lot, so maybe there's a reason why. So at that point in time, I started learning everything from Photoshop design to marketing to graphics, social media, sales, website design. You name it, I tried to do a little bit of it because I was kind of a one-man show learning the whole business from scratch. I became really good at everything, but I never was the master of all of it. I kind of learned that you need help with that later on. I also tell people, if anything, my best friend in my business startup is going to be Google, YouTube, and Amazon. I buy books on Amazon. I Google everything. I do a lot of searches for videos on YouTube. If you guys ever want to learn how to do anything in this world, you can YouTube almost anything to do a video. It'll teach you how to do everything. So very, very powerful. In this day and age, there's a lot of resources and tools. In any business and industry, there's a lot of shortcuts to help any business grow, even when they're just a small startup. But you got to be open-minded. You really have to be mentally strong, positive, and enthusiastic. People will tell you that all day long, and you'll have a million people trying to bring you down on every given day that you're alive. So you really got to be mentally in the game. From there, I realized one thing. I don't really have a lot of money to start this business. I know I want to. I'm passionate. I did a lot of research. But where do I go from here? I don't really have a whole lot of resources other than the websites and Google and YouTube and so forth. So I started looking into blogs, forums, videos on YouTube, and lots of other resources that are within this industry to see what's going on, to kind of find what more about it, where there's a gap, and start talking about it. Make people realize that, hey, I am passionate about this. I am learning a lot about it. and maybe I know what the heck I'm talking about, check it out, and send them to my website where I have my products, and I have also my own blogs and videos to let people know I have credibility in what I do, and check it out. So I started researching, where's the buzz in the fashion world on the web, and I pretty much went there and talked about it and said, hey, I know what you guys are talking about, but have you heard of this? Come to my website. So that's kind of where I started. It doesn't cost a lot of money, it just takes a little bit of time. So then I decided to make some videos on my own, how to tie ties, how to look for quality when you buy clothes, how to match, just things that average people really want to know, and that changes all the time because fashion changes every day, and as most people really know. I wanted to get involved with anything I can get my hands on. I did fashion shows, I did basically any kind of events that I could collaborate with that would get my name out there and make me have credibility in what I did. And eventually that paid off because I was featured on the front page of the newspaper once, actually twice, and then I was in a couple of little articles. A lot of blogs and magazines have wrote about me and what I do with my field. It gives me a lot of credibility. I take it and I bring it to my website, I bring it to my social media channels, and I really let a lot of the people know I got more credibility. Here you go. I'm still, doing what I'm doing. And at this point in time, I haven't put a lot of money on the table in the time of me doing this, just the actual time it takes. But again, you have to have credibility in what you're doing. People really want to believe in you, and reason of you being involved in a lot of stuff, they'll really believe in you. After all this, in 2011, in October, I was asked to be part of Midwest Fashion Week, which is kind of a big deal. I was the only menswear designer that was featured then, and it was great because it was awesome exposure, and again, more credibility, and after that, blogs and a few magazines, more articles. So it was really good, and it really helped me out a lot. And again, I just didn't know where to take it from there because I'm creative, I'm designing all this cool stuff, but my other part of my brain the business brain, I call it, the numbers brain, you're either one or the other. You're either creative and you're passionate, or you're a business numbers guy, and I don't think you can be both. I mean, it's really hard. So I started searching for people that I can collaborate with that can help me with this, because I've learned that my head is in this, and I've learned you have to take your emotion out of the business that you're in. No matter if you like it or you're passionate about it, you have to bring your own emotion out of it. You have to think as a business model, will it work, who will it work for, and who will be interested in this kind of stuff. So with all this, I found lots of great resources online, and I stuck with this whole online thing. There's a lot of free tools, and a lot of people in a small company and a small startup can do a lot with the web. Again, Google and YouTube. I tell this to everybody because they're free tools. So the biggest lesson I've learned, obviously, is to take your emotion out of it, because I thought that I designed what I like and the world will like it. It's not always the case. Sometimes you have to mold yourself a little bit to fit in with your creativity. It's not, there's a lot of ways you can take it in fashion, especially. But I also learned you can't be the jack of all trades. I tried to do it all, and it's almost impossible. I gained knowledge of everything, but at the end of the day, I wasn't the master of the one and only thing I'm supposed to be, which is a designer. A lot of designers out there do that, and they're so good at it because they have a whole day to do it. Where I built my website for 3 hours of the day, marketed on Facebook for 2, turned around and did graphics and marketing for an hour, and then I just did a little bit of everything, and I never really gained that brand ambassador of being the designer. So you need a team. You cannot start a business on your own. You can, but you need a team to help it grow fast. And being ADD, I'm literally all over the place. So I have to make sure I channel my energy and when I channel it. So after all this, I created this credibility. I gained all this know-how. I know what I'm doing. I'm passionate about it, but where was it going and how is it going there? I wasn't really sure. So I realized that the world is very much on the cloud, and I can really sell on the cloud, which is the internet. So I started building my website with something called a social commerce platform. I want people to get into it, to socialize in it, and to spend time on my website. And I ask myself, why do people go to Facebook? Why do people go to Twitter and check your email? Because you wonder who wrote to you, or who responded, or who liked something you posted. So I wanted to have that on my website. And the fashion industry doesn't have a whole lot of that, so I thought this is pretty neat. I could see people creating profiles on my website and talking. One person can say, hey, I bought one of your ties, I got a stain on it, how do I get it out? Another person can say, well, this is what I did, and it could work for you as well. They get points. There's a points system where they have a reward system as well. They can go to the store and they can get free products just by socializing. Creates me SEO content, so now I can build more traffic because I have more content on my website, and gives me more credibility because there's a lot of people there talking about it. So that is a huge thing that can be done as well, and I did it with WordPress, which is free. So it's a great tool. But at the end of the day, it's all helping, it's all fine and dandy, but what really helped me was recently I went to LA and Vegas to broaden my horizon and mind, because when I stay in my city, my mind is kind of in my city also, and I got to be out there with my creativity. I can't just stay here. So I went out there to, as I call, go in the future, and I realized that there's a lot of things happening out there, and there's a lot of opportunity. And then again, my friends came in. Well, the unemployment rates are the highest in Las Vegas. The housing market's falling apart there. LA, oh, there's so much horrible, all this in LA. When I was out there, I spent 2 weeks out there, and I was featured in a article because I was shopping in a mall in Vegas. And then before I know it, I had a couple of people come up to me, take pictures of me, and told me that they're doing the spread on 7 magazine. It's a reputable magazine there, and they're doing this trend spotting concept. Once a month, they're going to pick any person just walking around the streets that has a neat trend look, and they wanted to feature it in a magazine. And I said, great, take pictures of me, that's fine, I don't mind. And then I got an email a few days later that said, you won for the month of March, which will be featured next month. You have the trend spotting concept of what we're looking for. Now, would that have ever happened if I wasn't out there, basically? It probably not. So get out there, meet people, socialize, network, communicate, be part of events and activities, get your hands involved in whatever you can, and make it sound like you know what you're talking about in that field and industry, because it will give you a lot of credibility. After that was said and done, I went to a trade show there, and I ended up running into a few celebrities that actually really liked my work. I showed them all these articles and papers and all the stuff I've done. I showed them my work, and then they said, well, maybe you might design for us. So right now I'm in negotiations with a couple of pretty known artists I can't technically discuss yet, that if I land this account, this will be very huge for me, and I'll spend a lot of time designing out there. And again, this wouldn't happen unless I built that credibility and then showed it to them, because I can imagine how many people come to these celebrities with these ideas and all these visions for them and want to be a part of it. And you have to diversify yourself with, hey, I have credibility, I've done this, I was part of this, and I'm doing this, and I'm going to do that, and I can help you. I have the willpower, the knowledge, and the passion to create for you. So that's how I gained, or could potentially gain, something that can really give me a big spark in what I'm doing. So my passion was fashion, and I really like it because I think that this is my thing. But then turning it into a business, again, it's tough. Take your emotion out of it, stay in it, and in the beginning, I can tell you, for the first, well, I've been in it for 3 years, but for the first 5 years, you're going to probably spend countless hours working at it and have a lot of negative thoughts and have a lot of, I wish I didn't do this, am I sure I want to do that? That's going to happen, but you have to overlook all that, believe in yourself, and just push yourself. It's really going to be hard, but it will eventually pay off. Other than that, I feel like I'm good at what I do, and I'm very proud of it, and I'm going to keep on pushing, basically, and I'm not going to stop. I'm going to keep traveling, and I just basically wanted to give a little bit of an insight about how I started.